The difference between us, the successful entrepreneurs, and those that have the dreams and the visions and don't go nowhere is the actions that we take behind it. Like, how passionate are you to actually make that dream real? Like, what are you going to do now to make it happen? You know?
What's up, ShineHard family? You're tuned into a season 7 episode of the ShineHard Conversation, where we sit down with the best and brightest thought leaders to unify and mobilize the next generation of wealth builders. At ShineHard, our mission is to close the racial wealth gap, and we do that by helping you discover the wealth that you already possess. And so today, I have a very special guest, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Sean Williams, who is the founder of the Dad Gang. Sean, what's up, good brother? How are you?
I'm good. I am well. Pleasure to be here. I'm feeling good.
Yeah, man, I love the content that you create. I think you're a testament to how powerful social media can be, and storytelling especially, because I think that's something that has been a cornerstone to your organization and helping you grow and get awareness by Oprah, Steve Harvey, tons of news publications and things of that nature. So, you know, I really think that's incredible.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Cool, man. So before we get started, I want to plug in our Legacy Accelerator, which is an 8-week course that's coming up this summer. Again, we want to help you discover the wealth that you already possess. So if you're looking into creating wealth for yourself or your family, or just eliminating debt, increasing your net worth, setting up your kids and your family for success in the future, definitely check that out at shinehardfamily.org. And you can learn more about this amazing cohort and community that we're developing. Today, we're going to jump into this thing. Sean, it's time to shine. So for me, it's very clear that we can see passionate people where they are on social media and say, okay, wow, they've reached this level of success. But a lot of times we don't always know how their journey began. So tell us a little bit more about what growing up was like for you, and, you know, what your family structure was like.
So I'm part of a family of 5. I'm the baby of the family. I have 2 sisters. Both my parents are still together. My parents originally were from Trinidad. So we are the only kids that were born in America. So it's pretty much an immigrant family. I have a sister that's a year older than I, and the other one is 10 years older. And it was cool. You know, the pretty much an average lower middle income, middle class, actually lower class, I would say. I didn't know we were poor, to be honest, but, you know, they were making ends meet. It was a pretty good childhood, a pretty good upbringing. We didn't know what we didn't have. So, you know, we were raised well. A lot of people, being as though I started the Dad Gang, a lot of people want to know about my relationship with my dad, which wasn't really the greatest. He was there. He was definitely present, but he was also trying to feed a family of 5 every day. So his priorities when it came to bonding with me, you know, and making a relationship with me, that wasn't at the top of his list. But and I grew up resenting that. But all in all, it was a very good childhood. They were always there. They were always present. We were always taken care of and provided for.
Are they still together?
Yeah. Go 40 years now.
Incredible.
Yeah.
Incredible. And that's interesting about how the generational, expectations have changed, in a sense where previous generations of the men were just required to just take care of the family, protector, provider. And that relationship with the children was kind of like cast onto the mothers. Like, you raise the children. It's not our job to build a relationship with them. And sometimes, you know, the kids, the offspring, us, can feel away as we grow up and grow older. And I think that one thing that's lost in terms of those conversations is that dinner table conversation about money.
Yeah.
So
absolutely,
you know, which kind of can be the crux of our detriment in the future. You know, what was your relationship with money as a kid?
It was for a family that didn't have money. I had no relationship with money. You know what I mean? Like, my parents were trying to understand making money, saving money, investing money in America while they had none. So every dollar that they got went to something. There was no real big savings or anything like that. We moved a lot. we didn't, my family didn't buy a house till, shoot, I might have been in my teens when they made their first purchase. Yeah. So it was, they didn't have much to teach because they didn't know much.
Yeah, no, bro. Like, I think that's the story that many Black families or African Americans or immigrant families experience, where the parents are, it's like Maslow's hierarchy of needs, where like survival is most important. If we can't get past that, then you really can't focus on the other wealth building or luxuries that life has to offer. And so that's something that resonates with me, and I'm sure our viewers as well.
Absolutely.
And thinking about that as you now being a dad, and you have 3 kids, right?
3 of them.
Father of 3. Wow, that's big. How has your upbringing affected you as a young adult, and then also now as a father?
Well, I think everybody's always going to learn something. I mean, like what you go through, you're either going to learn what to do or what not to do, right? And it's really up to you how you take that information. When I realized I didn't know much about credit, and I went through having bad credit, or maxing out a credit card, not having the money to pay it back, waiting until a bursar gives me a refund and stuff. Going through all of that, now I know I have a 16-year-old who's going to be going to college in a couple of years, so I already know this. You know what I mean? Like, so I'm trying to help her build credit now. Putting her on a credit card that I'm using just to give her the leg up. So a lot of the mistakes I went through or experienced, like my kids are like, I'm happy to, like, I'm a progressive dude. So they pretty much safe from actually not even safe. I'm teaching them what to do, whether they make those mistakes or not, that's going to be on them. Mm-hmm. But they're going to have quite a bit of a leg to stand on when they get into those spaces, being as though I had the bad experiences for them. But I think it affected me a lot. Everything that I did and everything that I've been through, it just put me in a way better position to lead them. Like even my relationship with my dad, I didn't take it as a negative. I mean, I resented it. I was upset, but that gave me the fuel or the drive to say, you know what, when I become a dad, I want to be a very involved dad, like very, very involved. And it just turned into this whole parenting style that I just naturally had with all of my kids, developing a relationship with all 3 of them. I didn't experience this because my dad didn't give it to me, but I knew it's not what I wanted. So I had to flip it when I was in the seat.
Yeah, totally. And I think it's funny that you said like your parents were like, the furthest advice they give you is like, save your money. And that to me is like the ultimate Generation X baby boomer advice. It's like, save your money. Like, what does that really mean? Like, save it where? And then what do I expect to do with it?
There's so much other questions. All right, so save it, but how do I spend it? Right? You know what I mean? Like, what do I do with it? Like, what about making money? How do I make money instead of all these traditional? Honestly, Johnny, up until I want to say even as far as a couple years ago, mind you, the Dad Gang has been we've been up for 4 years. I've been a creative director prior to that for 7 years. My mom was still like, listen, apply to MTA, New York City Transit, because
get a job.
It's safe. It's safe and secure. I'm like, what are you talking about? Like,
no, it took my family like literally 4 years to embrace and accept that I was an entrepreneur, because I was working at Nike and they're like, oh my God, you did it. You made it. And then I left Nike. They're like, no, why would you do that? And all this time I'm building up ShineHard and working on these entrepreneurial endeavors. They're kind of like awkward silence. Like, we don't understand what you're doing. And you're saying that it's good, but we can't process it because it doesn't fit into what we think is working. So that's definitely a thing in our communities at times. And you talked about having your kids a little bit more set up, or teaching them at least some of the X's and O's as kids. What are some of the things specifically that you're doing to secure the future for your kids?
So for one, what I didn't have a savings plan or a college plan when I was coming in. So I was still, I'm still paying off college debt now. So for one, all 3 of my kids have a 529 plan. It's not for everybody, but I just felt, it was necessary for us. So, we're putting into that every couple of weeks. Outside of that, I have, as an entrepreneur, we got different businesses. One of which is a book that I should be dropping soon. That's a low key, but you got the exclusive that's dropping soon. Yeah, and like, yeah. So for me, the royalties, honestly, I gave them all the royalties. Like, there's a book from that's going to be geared towards my daughters and another one towards my son, and they're getting all the royalties from those books moving forward. Another thing I did, a couple businesses I have, even my design business, which I don't do too much of, but they have a percentage of the companies that I own or the businesses that I have. I just feel like it's only right to, put them in a position, give them ownership. You know what I mean? Like, they might not know what to do with it now, but if I do what I do and my businesses, succeed, they have something. You know what I mean? I don't want them to feel out the gate or out of college they need to work for anybody else but themselves. Yeah. So all of those things I'm building, and honestly, everything I build, I feel like my family has to have or own a piece of it, because that is really the legacy. It's not who carries the last name, but it's like what I did while I was here and how can that continue? So if I found a way to make money, essentially there will always be an entrepreneur. They will always have that, because they'll always have the option to work for something that they own, know?
Yeah. And that stream of income that they own is a piece of wealth that no one can take away from them.
Exactly.
And it's interesting because what you're doing is essentially it's very easy to do, but it's also very easy not to do.
Yes.
And so many of us who are like in doing entrepreneurship or, working and trying to make money, we really don't always know why we're doing it. And we can lose sight of what it all means at the end of our life if we haven't set up infrastructure to make sure it's continued through our kids.
Right.
So
absolutely.
Kudos to you for having that foresight. I mean, I expect nothing less from a dad like yourself.
I appreciate it.
You mentioned entrepreneurship, man. Let's talk more about your journey into that world. Tell us more about the mission of Dad Gang and how it all came about.
So, all right. So, as being an active dad, my first child I had pretty much fresh out of college. I was 22, not prepared. Yeah, it wasn't planned. You know what I mean? Like, it was a whole situation. So I really had to adjust or like really change my perspective of fatherhood at that point because I wasn't prepared. Mm-hmm. Fast forward a few, years later, I was married. I had my second child. And at that point, I was already doing my graphics. So now I was well into my career as a creative director. And I was contracting work. So I had a lot of time to myself or a lot of time at home. So I was a stay-at-home dad. And I would, take my baby out all the time. We were running errands, grocery shopping, whatever the case may be. I always had the time to be with my daughter at that point. Keep in mind, there's a little backstory. My oldest didn't live with me at that point. So I was only seeing my oldest every other weekend. But this baby now, my second child, I'm like, oh, I'm so prepared. I'm so ready. She's with me 24/7. So on a usual like errand run, I was in the grocery and some white lady just randomly, I used to have fun with it too. So I'm in the grocery playing with my daughter, looking at the fruit. She's trying to pronounce the fruit. It was fun. It was cute. I understood why I was getting looked at that point. But one lady took it upon herself to stop me and said, first, what she actually said first was, I'm so sorry about what's happening with your people. So she was thinking race was on her mind. I don't know who had gotten shot at the time, but it was another Black man that got shot. And it was one of those, it was a very dark time and tense for Black and white people again, which it usually is. But in this moment, it was fresh. Somebody else was going viral, another hashtag. And she stopped me to say, look, dude. So I knew it was coming from a good place. She goes, I'm so sorry about what's happening to your people. America is crazy. Like, it's sick. And, she's looking at my baby because I was in the middle of dad mode. She goes, is this your baby? And I'm like, of course it's my kid.
Baby would it be?
Yeah, I'm in the grocery playing with this kid. And she's like, oh, man. And she said, oh, I'm so happy to see you stuck around for this. And I'm like, that is not you started so good. You know what I mean? And then you went down. I'm like, that's not a compliment. Stuck around for this? Like, what do you mean? What do you think what the alternative would have been?
Right.
So that's where, after that conversation, I came home, spoke to my friends, and, we're just talking about it. At that point, a lot of my friends were also, newly married or small children. We're all in our early 30s. So that's just what's happening in my crew. And, I said, I want to change that. We need to figure out a way for them to change that. A woman like this, she doesn't get to see a lot of young Black dads like myself doing what I was doing.
It's
And what
very
I
easy
was
for her
doing,
to feed into the misconceptions.
right. What I was doing wasn't unique. It's not like I was doing something special. I was just going through the grocery with my kid. And I said, I want to change that. I want to change the way the world views Black fatherhood. And the Dad Gang is the vehicle that we use to do that. A way to showcase myself and my friends and whoever jumped on the hashtag or whatever content I could create out of that. I was going to, just share that. And hopefully, you know what I mean? Like this would be a place that not only can it change the perception, but other dads can be inspired because
it became bigger than you.
I mean, bigger than me and fast, very fast too. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, bro. It's incredible, man. And I'm glad to be a part that we've collaborated in the past and I could
Absolutely
contribute just in a small little way. And me being a Black father myself, I go through that same like internal struggle of comparing myself or my situation to my relationship with my dad. Right. And thinking about my dad's relationship with his dad. And I think the generational zeitgeist comes into play, but then it's also just the level of intentionality that I feel like they kind of lacked, in my opinion. Like both of my parents were kind of in and out of my life. I was raised by my grandmother, and it was what it was for me. Like I just navigated my life, made mistakes with money, made mistakes with people, friends, all of those things. But I figured it out. But once I became a dad, I really had some context to be like, man, like you didn't want to be here for this part. You don't want to. You don't want to do this. Like, damn, like this is important. This is special. And so there is some like resentment there sometimes, but pages like the Dad Gang definitely provide that healing and that sense of community where like we are the leaders of right now. We are the dads that can change the narrative. So, or really just amplify the narrative that's there existing.
Absolutely.
So talking about the importance of entrepreneurship, because on this platform, one of our core methodologies is helping Black Americans start businesses, create side hustles, and really emphasizing the importance of ownership. How important do you feel entrepreneurship is to Black Americans?
Oh, man, I think ownership is probably, I think the American dream is about ownership, right? You hear stories about getting that house with the white picket fence or whatever it is. Really, the dream is about owning your how your success, owning what you can do, owning how comfortable you can be, owning your time, right? I think entrepreneurship, and it's sad that colleges don't push it enough because we always, we get these expensive degrees and then we get into this world with bad credit, with no money, in debt. And we're supposed to like find this. How are you going to get this American dream if you're already you're already in the negative? Like, so it's hard. But I think entrepreneurship definitely was like a way out, especially for me with a dad. I got 3 kids now. If I wasn't an entrepreneur, I wouldn't have the time that I needed to be the type of dad that I wanted to be. So I really had to figure out a way very fast to own my future and own my time and own my, how much money I can make. I think it's a major thing that every family should, like, somebody needs to figure that thing out, because if you don't, you're going to be a slave to all these companies, and they don't care about your time. They don't care about what where you live and how you bond or your family structure. Nobody's going to care. So I think part of getting Black people to that space where we can have these families with these kids that want for nothing, and it's really not just about money. I really think it's really about your time and what you can own and what you can pass down, what you can control. So entrepreneurship is definitely the way to first take back your time, take back how much money you can make. You give yourself no ceiling. And the potential is like endless once you're able to do that. And entrepreneurship is the way to be able to do it. So it's definitely something I'll promote. Definitely something. It's not easy. You know what I mean? Like, of course, in the beginning, starting anything, coming from a space where I was doing graphics, logos, websites for other entrepreneurs, I was looking at entrepreneurs find and make their way out, right? Constantly, every day. I have my job, but my side hustle was doing this, doing branding for, the Johnnies of the world or the Seans of the world who had an idea like Sean, like I want this logo. And I would look at these people take their logo from, just a concept with me, I'll do a website for them. And I would see these people like find a way and make a way to change their own life through entrepreneurship, and it was just really inspiring for me. And at some point I told myself, I had a major contract with a guy where I was creative director for his company for 7 years. And it gave me some freedom, but it still wasn't my own time. When I wanted to take a vacation, when I had my kids, I had to leave and go back, to work because, you know what I'm saying? Like I work for somebody, although I did I worked a lot from home, I still worked for someone. So there was a boss. I had to clock in, clock out. I had to report to somebody. I couldn't just say like, my kid is sick. I'm out for the week, or I just can't report in. So knowing that he owned my time it just like, it didn't sit well with me. You know what I mean? Like there came a point as you get the kids, you realize, I'm gonna need a little bit more money. Diapers ain't cheap, right? And even if you're getting paid well, you can't say, you can say I want more, but if they say no, that's that. Like that conversation is ended, and now he controls what I make. It was just too much control left in somebody else's hand for me to like just think it was okay.
No, I hear you loud and clear. I think that entrepreneurship is hard, and it's not for necessarily everyone. Doesn't need to be a full-time entrepreneur. And this is what I always tell people, because it's very sexy to say, take that leap of faith, leave your job, fire your boss.
Right.
But I think that the more practical way is to decide if you are a full-time entrepreneur type. But if you're not, what can you do on the side? How can you leverage the skills that you're applying at your job to create a freelance gig, to flex that and flip that? Or maybe real estate is the game, something more passive. There's tons of different opportunities that you can own your income, own your time, and ultimately accelerate your net worth. Because quite frankly, just like Sean said, if you are relying on a single paycheck to change your circumstances, you're going to have to greatly live under your means in order to kind of create that margin of income to invest and to accelerate. So just things to consider. But I totally agree. Entrepreneurship is the key. Ownership is the wave. And there's so many reasons why. And you sat down with Oprah to talk about your business, Steve Harvey, like we mentioned earlier, and probably many others. What lesson have you learned, whether it's about family, about business, or anything else, from working on the Dad Gang and kind of building up this movement?
For one, you got to be really consistent with these things. When I started the platform, I didn't see what the business was entirely. Like I knew there were things that I could have done. I knew I was going to curate the page myself. I knew I had to do merchandise. That was a way of getting income to also supplement my life, and also the events that we were doing, all the initiatives that we were doing. But I didn't see how far it would take us. I really didn't expect to be talking to Oprah or Steve Harvey or whatnot. But what I learned really, really fast is like, I had to be consistent with it, right? I think if I had stopped at any point, it took us 4 years to get to that point where Oprah's calling us, or, Steve Harvey is reaching out to us. The Real is reaching out to us. It took us years to get there. So in those beginning stages, at any point, I could have said, "Oh, this is too much to post," or "It's not making money. Let me stop. It's annoying today." And I can't even lie. I had days where I didn't share anything, and I have a really good circle, a really great team around me that knows the game, that understands algorithms, that knows social media, and that's would say like, "Bro, you can't not post today." You know what I'm saying? Like people are counting on that, and we're building something, like you can't stop building because we haven't gotten there yet. So who said you could take a break right now? You can't take a break. So snap out of it and let's get the ball rolling again. So I think staying consistent is a life lesson that it's taught me that I can't sing his praises enough. You know what I mean? Like I'll tell everybody, man, you got a vision, you got a dream, it's good because it's in your head. I don't have to get it to know it's good. I don't have to see the end goal to tell you, oh yeah, do it. You need to do that. That's your vision. That's your dream. Once you have that and you start working on it, just don't quit. That's that. You know what I'm saying? Like if you want it to be successful, you literally cannot quit it. So just keep it consistent.
Bro, that's the exact same thing that I did with ShineHard, bro. Like that is giving me chills because in 2014, when I started this platform, it was literally just having conversations like this. And I was just putting them out every single Sunday. I would record them, I would transcribe them, then I would release them on Sunday. And I did that the first year, season 1, I did 36 interviews for 36 Sundays in a row. And my whole thought process was consistency, beat them into submission to the point where people just know, like, yo, this dude got fire. He got content. He's serious about this work. And so it was all about consistency, man. And I kept that same energy going in from season 1 to season 2 to season 3, and then ultimately becoming a nonprofit. And, you know, the rest is history as we've evolved. And now here on season 7.
Wow. Amazing.
You know what I mean? And so this means so much blessing that has come from this. Is like you said, like a logo and a website have totally changed my life. So I'm a testament to one of those guys who just took it there.
And salute to you, man. Like it's just crazy. Even how I met you, you know, like you were already there, ShineHard and working with Google. It just shows you what being consistent can do years later. You know what I mean? Like the rooms that put you in. So I applaud you, bro. For real.
Thank you, bro. Is Dad Gang a 501c3 or LLC?
So the Dad Gang is LLC, but we do have a 501c3 that operates under the Dad Gang, and the name is Random Acts of Dadness. And that's something I realized we have to do. Initially, you know, when I started the Dad Gang, I wasn't thinking of nonprofit. You know, it's a for-profit business. I poured my money into curating these events, into building all the graphic, you know, all the brand and the merch and all of those things. But I realized in that space, we did need to have some resources to help a lot of other dads that needed some help, you know, needed resources, needed therapy, needed childcare, needed maybe, you know, diapers, whatever the case may be. So we created Random Acts of Dadness. We actually just got those certificates in 2020. But so that is the nonprofit that operates under the Dad Gang.
Got it. And so it sounds like from the LLC and the nonprofit, you guys are making sizable impact. I mean, one, I'm thinking about how we measure success. And one of the ways that we measure success at ShineHard is tracking how many people we can help eliminate debt, how much debt we can eliminate, how much we can help Black millennials build their net worth, or how many Black Americans we can help discover their genealogy or their family tree. And so we're trying to find measurable things, but it all comes back to tracking, this idea of tracking and measuring, because I think when you measure, you will be successful. Winners are trackers. And so you have been consistent in your work. And so that tells me that you have a relationship with goal setting or habits that have helped you get there. What's your relationship with goal setting, and like how are you setting goals, or what habits have really helped you become successful as a father or as a businessman?
You know, when we set a goal or we're on a mission, the whole idea, like if I don't do anything that doesn't lead to that space. And I've been really good to have a team that helps me stay on track with what we're trying to do. You know, take, for instance, the Dad Gang. There were things we needed to do. There's a lot of things we could do with the Dad Gang. A lot of people hit us with ideas all the time. And our ultimate goal was to change the way the world views Black fatherhood. So we had to make impact. So a lot of things that we didn't, a lot of ideas that came on my desk, I turned it down because I just felt like it wasn't impactful enough. Like it didn't align with what we're trying to do. You know, some might say like, Sean, you got a really big platform. You know, why don't you guys have this daddy-daughter dance? That'd be cool. I'm like, yeah, it'd be cool, but it ain't gonna do nothing for us. You know what I'm saying? Like it doesn't help out our goal. And my team has really fallen in line with my vision. Like, dude, like these are nice suggestions, but if it doesn't make an impact, you know, like it has to do something. If our goal is to change the way the world views Black dads and support these dads, how is that going to do it? So instead of doing a daddy-daughter dance, we do the March of Dads. We do Strolling with the Homies, because we know when people see us out, you know, it's gonna create something. It's gonna start a discussion. It's gonna go viral. It's gonna, you know, people are gonna like that discussion will like, wow, 100 Black dads, like how'd they pull that off? Like, can this happen again? And we do it again in another city. Then like, oh, it's a thing. You know what I'm saying? Like this is, so I'm really in line with when we set a goal or a mission or whatever it is, I'm 99.9% sure I'm gonna hit it just because I won't give energy to anything else. You know what I'm saying? If it doesn't align, if it doesn't measure up or it doesn't lead to that specific goal, if it's not gonna help us achieve that specific thing, I probably won't waste my time doing it, you know, at all. Yeah.
I imagine everyone walking this earth has once had a dream or a vision. Do you agree?
Absolutely.
So what separates those people who have turned their dreams into a reality versus those who haven't?
I think believing in yourself enough to actually do it, you know, to try to manifest that dream, turn it into a real thing. A lot of times we have a dream, but don't know how to get it. A lot of times people dream of success, but the success, when you think about it, it's actually for them. A lot of people are scared of the success because, you know, they might see me on these channels or on these platforms and they might want it. They might want to do it too, but they're scared of what it entails or how to get it. Like, damn, does that mean I got to commit to posting on a page every day? Does that mean I have to do the work to find like simple things? I got to find someone to do graphics, or I have to find someone to, you know, where am I going to find the money for a website? Like a lot of people have the dream or the vision, but they're scared of the groundwork that it's going to take to actually get there. So they won't get there. So I think, you know, the dreams, people with vision, the difference between us, the successful entrepreneurs, and those that have the dreams and the visions and don't go nowhere is the actions that we take behind it. Like, how passionate are you to actually make that dream real? Like, what are you going to do now to make it happen? You know, until you do something, it's always going to live in your head until you do one step to make it a reality. You know?
Absolutely. I mean, habits are who we are. They become our identity. And I think you're absolutely right. People are afraid of the work. So at some point, you have to decide that you're going to do the work. And when I decided to be an entrepreneur, it was more of like a entrepreneurial seizure where I was tired of this job. I was feeling stifled. And I had a come to Jesus moment in the mirror where I said, I don't want to live like this anymore. And at that point, something clicked or maybe something snapped. And I was like, I'm blacking out, gonna build this business, gonna make this platform grow. I'm not looking back. And that type of energy, at least for me and most of the thought leaders that come on this platform, have had that same type of energy when they've decided that they're gonna do something. They go 120%. And it's not even a matter of, do I have to do this? It's like, what I got to do. I'm going to go ahead and do that.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So to put a bow on this whole thing, we have a ton of probably Black fathers that are going to watch this, entrepreneurs that are going to watch this, and even just Black millennials that are maybe working their 9-to-5 and thinking about starting families. And we're all here trying to collectively increase our net worth and leave a legacy. You know, what advice would you give to the next generation of leaders around how to succeed and create wealth in the 21st century?
Well, I think we need to be a little bit more savvy with the money we make, you know, and how we spend our times figuring out how to make money. I think we're all going through a really, like, in this moment right now, it's like a Black revolution again. You know, the Black dollar, we're starting to understand how much power we have in these dollars. And when I say we, I mean like this young generation who's making the money. I made a lot more money than my dad. Like, this is not, you know what I mean? Like, we just, like, they're always going to make more money in every generation. So while we're figuring this out, while we're owning more property, while we're starting more businesses, it's really a matter of figuring out how to keep that gravy train rolling. You know, like, put your kids on. You got to put the kids on. Like, we got to put that generation on. We have to invest in them. If we really want to keep the money, it's like, do you want to be wealthy or do you want to be rich? You know, I could be rich and not pass all these gems down to my sons and my daughters, not, you know, teach the younger generation anything. And, you know, the dad gang dies with me and I lived a great life and now it's nothing. Now, like that's not wealth. That's not generational wealth. So it's really about passing these nuggets on. Everything we learn.
One thing Kevin Hart said, I was watching an interview with him and Joe Rogan, and he was like, the hardest thing to come by in terms of success is information.
Yeah.
He said there's a lack of information on how to succeed in the Black community. And that really resonated because we all think it's just money, access to capital. If you gave me $1 million, I'll make $2 million. Not necessarily.
Right.
If you don't know what to do with that $1 million, or your mindset is in consumerism, you want to just save, and inflation outpaces your cash. There's so many ways you can lose $1 million if you don't know what to do with it. And then there's like this thing called the Black tax, which I've heard is different versions where our parents basically didn't set themselves up financially, and we as the kids become higher earners than them, and then they start to lean on us. And then we have our kids who depend on us, and then also the responsibility of taking care of our parents. Has that situation fallen on you?
Slightly. Not that my parents solely depend on me, but you just realize when you start, when your success starts to match your financials, right? And you're in a better place, you start to look at how your parents are living, and you want to, you want their life to, you want to enhance their life too. And in a lot of ways for us, it's like you start to help them out financially because I'm living a different life, but they don't necessarily they don't need me to survive, but I definitely have stepped in to change how comfortable they live their day to day. And it's unfortunate because they put, and I don't mind doing so because again, I didn't know we were broke, so they invested a lot of time and energy into just keeping the wool over my eyes. You know what I mean? So now I can appreciate some of the finer things in life without the
stress or trauma that you might have.
Yeah, exactly. So it's definitely a little bit of a burden because for a lot of us in this generation, we're going to be the first generation to touch a certain amount of money that we know our parents probably dreamed about touching. We have more time, we have more information, we have more education. So a lot falls on us. We're the change we are the ones that are breaking the curse, right? And that's a lot of pressure to be the person in your family to break a curse. Even parenthood, for the dads that listen to this, it's a lot of pressure to be the first dad in your family circle to be a nurturing dad. You know what I'm saying? Or to be a dad that, hey, you know what? You can take care of these babies in a better way. It's not just provide, protect, it's not just about making money. So it's a lot of pressure to be that dad to break a generational curse, but it's also an honor and a privilege to be in that position that you can do it. You know what I'm saying? So I applaud, or I welcome that pressure and that pressure to be that guy in the family to make the turn,
Absolutely.
It's one of those things. Yeah.
We are the leaders of right now, man. We're the first generation millionaires. And if you don't come from a wealthy family must come from you. Bro, I appreciate your time on this conversation, bro. This is amazing.
Indeed, bro.
We always create magic when we get together, man. Let everyone know how they can find you online and what you have coming up with the Dad Gang.
Oh, for sure. Well, if you're not following, it is at the Dad Gang on Instagram, on Facebook, on Twitter, on all those platforms, thedadgang.com if you're looking for the website. Also, Random Acts of Dadness shows up on all those social media platforms as well as the website. But everything goes there, man. If you want to see who I am, really, it's Sean for real on Instagram. But yeah, just in line. Most of my personal flows right into my business as well. So that's where you guys can find me.
Beautiful. I think when you can be yourself across all your platforms, that's when you're really truly walking in your purpose.
That's the goal, man.
That's the life, bro. And so you guys can find me at @1JohnnyBailey. If you want to follow the movement, it's at ShineHard Family. Visit ShineHardFamily.org. Again, if you're looking to discover the wealth that you already possess, you want to become a first-generation millionaire, eliminate your debt, increase your net worth, find your roots, become a producer. I want you all to know about the Legacy Accelerator that's coming up this summer. Go ahead and hit the website, ShineHardFamily.org, to learn more about our 8-week accelerator course that can help you grow and build a legacy for yourself and your family. We appreciate you guys for checking out this conversation and tuning in. We'll see you next week, and stay black, stay woke, and shine hard. All right, Sean.
I love it, bro.
You, brother.
Thank you, man.